What's poppin' world? Y'all tapped in with the Hit of the Game podcast. Yet once again, we got a controversial discussion we got to talk about. Excuse me. Without further ado, y'all read the title. Let's get right into it. All right, so you guys, we got another one right here, man. It's some advanced game, meaning that if you ain't got the bases covered, probably should go watch some other videos and then come back to this one. But without further ado, let's get right into it. The only benefits out of being friend zone, now pay attention to the word of benefits in friend zone, right? Kind of like oxymorons when you look at it from a guy's perspective, because let's be honest, if you could be friend zone but you could reap all the benefits of what a relationship would entail, then you really wouldn't be present for the relationship. Hence friends with benefits, right? And with certain situations, there's pros and cons, right? And it really comes down to your maturity, your experience, your temperament, your insight, your intellect, your IQ, your poise, your patience, and your ability to endure certain realities that I feel like would have most people have a hard time processing, right? So, for instance, I was dealing with this girl a few years ago, 5-6 years ago, right? And we ended up falling out. And I really liked this girl, but I didn't want to make it official with her, only just because, I just really didn't see a long-term future with her. Like, she was a good girl, but she might not have been good for me long-term, right? And selfish as that is, we gotta be realists. That's why on the flip side, if I were to come across a girl and I know I got good qualities, good character traits, but the chemistry and the nature of our dynamic isn't organic and it feels artificial, like I'm trying to overcompensate in other areas just to make it work, then that's just pretty much set up for failure, right? But let's get into the real understanding about being friend zoned, right? And what that comes along with, because I think it's only one side of the friends with benefits dynamic, which is really gray area based, and I'm about to explain that right now. So here are the rules with the friends with benefits, and depending on what kind of guy you are, you may not be able to participate in this game, right? So for instance, there's typically no commitment if that hasn't been established. There's no boundaries, there's no parameters. It's just pretty much I see you, you see me. What we both want is mutual, so nobody's taking from the other person that they're not getting back in return, right? So if the benefit is actually sexual, then it cancels out. It's a spade for spade, right? But there's also other dynamics where it's not symmetrical, but there's two things that are considered trade-offs. So if you're a guy with a certain kind of means and you have access resources, and then the woman on the other hand, she has a lot of free time and she looks at it like, okay, well, the exclusivity of my body is only to those that can provide me a certain lifestyle. With that you do what you will, but that's pretty much another aspect of that dynamic, right? But here's the dark side. Back to the first point, right? The commitment part. If she so happens to entertain somebody else, talk to somebody else, while she's talking to you, the one thing you can't do is be insecure, right? You can't be the friend, but then also acting like the boyfriend when it's playing towards your inconvenience. You got to keep it consistent and you got to keep it straightforward, right? This is why a lot of guys don't like the friend zone, because they're not getting nothing and they're giving everything, right? For the chance to potentially get something back in return. They're like a long-term investment. Okay, sacrifice my short term, maybe win her over in the long term, and then happily ever after. And like I said, are there exceptions to certain rules? I mean, but the main point of this video, right, is the real main point of this video is to understand that you have to understand what comes along with the game. And the game is that you can't care about stuff that you're not in position to care about. So if this is your friend and you're getting certain benefits, but you don't have the commitment, then all that gray area potentially, now she may not step out and entertain somebody else, but it may be open depending on, what opportunities that come by to us, right? So that's pretty much the gist of it, man. I could just say that certain guys don't have the temperament, or the understanding to be able to endure something like that because they're territorial. They feel like, all right, if I'm rocking with her, she mine. She can't talk to nobody, but yet I still want, as what they say, have your cake and eat it too. And you can initially, but I feel like the only way it's going to function is if you're straightforward and then you're honest, right? Because you being dishonest about your intentions and what you want, then that whole notion could be weaponized against you when she decides to try to even the playing field. But if you up in front with her and she goes along with the agreement, then regardless of how she feels about it moving forward, she already knows what she signed up for. So I'm gonna just leave it at that. Y'all got any points y'all would have add or whatever, go ahead, leave that down below. Comment, like, subscribe. More videos on the way. I'm up out of here.